Welcome to the Loud Little Ducky. It is Friday, July 24th, 2026, and we are going to jump back into the Mackenzie Shirilla case file. We have a whole playlist on Mackenzie Shirilla, although the video about Mackenzie Shirilla's prior interactions with police, that video got taken down for privacy. It's a public case, but I am going to find a way to get at least the information for anybody who wants to view it. I will find a way to get that put out there so that y'all still have access to it. It just may not be in video form. And I'm going to go through and redact and stuff like that. But today, what we are going to be focusing on are continuation of interviews that the police did while investigating this crash. So let's get started. While you're coming in, don't forget to hit that like button, comment if you're on replay as well, subscribe if you haven't already. You can share this out, and that's a free way to support the channel and myself. So let me actually get to the first one that we're going to do. All right. So the first one today is going to be Christine Russo, who is Dominic Russo's sister, I believe, if I am not mistaken. So let's make that. And then we'll see if we need to turn it up.
Recording.
So we have, I don't know when was the last time you talked to Tim, the prosecutor? It's been a while. So right now we have served a total of 11 search warrants. We have received almost returns on half of them, not everything. The doc screen, we haven't received that yet, but we did get some information on the car. And the car is normal. There were no defects. We had a forensic mechanic look it over. There were no issues whatsoever with that. Also, medically, pursuant to 2 search warrants, there is nothing to indicate that Mackenzie at the time of the crash or immediately before the crash had any type of medical condition that would have caused the crash. So at this point, we're waiting for the TOC screen to look at whether it's OVI related or something else. Now, when you and I talked before in the first time, you indicated that you thought this wasn't just an OVI, that there was something else.
She told me just the other day that they were fucked up. I asked her, why didn't you ask me to come get you? She said, we weren't fucked up or anything. Quote unquote, I don't have it in writing. I only have it orally said to me at the cemetery. So that's what she said.
Do you still believe that theory that there was something more sinister than, any type of impairment involved?
The only thing that to me, I don't know if there's a lot of rumors. I think a lot of people are lying about things. my understanding from one of the kids, the dad that you talked to that stated that she was sleeping and all that and all, I don't even know if that dad was there.
He wasn't. The dad was in New York.
So, yeah, so I don't know how he could state that, but,
He's getting that from his son's statement.
Right.
okay.
And the son, the kid came here, in fact, in this exact room with the parents, and the kid said he went to sleep.
Okay.
But
No, I thought they said Kenzie was sleeping.
yeah, the kid
Okay.
said he went to sleep at 1. He woke up around 3 to use the bathroom, and she was asleep while everybody else was watching South Park. And so, unfortunately, that we haven't been able to corroborate because everybody who was at the party is very uncooperative and they practically lawyered up and refusing to talk. The only kid who,
which two of the main people are people from the so-called party, are Rosie and Bubba that were for sure there. So those are some of the people. And yeah, they were not willing to cooperate with the police, which to me is stupid, just because if you are on Mackenzie's side, why don't you vouch for Kenzie's side? Why don't you go in there? I mean, you can have an attorney, whatever, and just tell them what you know. But you didn't want to do that. You didn't want to cooperate. You didn't even try to save your friend's life from, and her being put in jail. It's just stupid.
voluntarily talked to us from Dominic and Mackenzie's friends was Blair. And Blair spoke to me in the presence of his lawyer, and he wasn't very forthcoming. And I kind of put that in my report. I told him, Miss Russo said you're one of Dominic's best friends.
Well, he said that you sat there and thought that they were going to all commit suicide together. That's ridiculous.
No, we did not say that. That's not what we said. We asked him if he knew. I was inquiring whether he had any information that, Dominic might have told him, like, hey, Kenzie's crazy. She might have done this, or she might have, I'm afraid for my life with her.
You should talk to my son, Angelo. I mean, that's the problem. She threatened him constantly. I told you it was 1 week before we had to pick him up on.
So Christine is the mom of Dominic, not the sister. I was thinking it was the sister. I forget what the sister's name is, but this is the mother of Dominic Russo.
The highway when she threatened to crash the car then. Okay, it's not, I was on with Dom, she sat there and texted me, Dom was out of control. Dom was very calm, said, Mom, you need to come get me. She's threatening to crash the car.
We did see those.
Yeah, that's one of the things we wanted to bring up was that text conversation between you and her, and then her and Dom. We got two sides of it. Did Dom tell you that he grabbed the wheel and jerked it like she alleged?
No.
Okay, so when you're on the phone with Dom, to your knowledge, he never grabbed the wheel. It was just her freaking out.
Right. They were on the side of the road. And
Okay.
she said, I'm calling the police if you don't get him. And I said, I'm on the phone saying she can call the police all she wants, but we are on our way. What are the police going to do?
Mhm.
Okay. So that was that. They were on the side of the road.
What
They were
started
not
that
driving.
fight? You don't know?
The
And I didn't
suicide.
get involved just because I always said that I don't want to have my kids not or think that I don't like her, I didn't like her or whatever. So then they wouldn't, be able to come to me. I just said, Dom, I know you're gonna get back together. I'm not getting in the middle. I just said, no, all I kept saying was there never should be fighting in the car. That's all I said. You don't
Right.
fight in the car.
Right.
Okay. And I didn't even in detail read her bullshit and her rants because I don't really give a shit what she had to say at that point.
So just to clarify, me looking into the possibility that there was a potentially suicide involved on her behalf, not just recklessness, is based on the presumption that there was something more sinister than an OVI. And I kind of got that from you. I consider you to be more reliable than the average, given your profession and the fact that you kind of are experienced within the legal system. So when you tell me, hey, this is not just an OVI, I'm going to give it some more thought. And so I was hoping that some of the friends would say, hey, yeah, you know what? Dom did in private text me, that, hey, she's crazy. She tried to do this. And maybe Blair just doesn't want to
Dom's
talk.
not a real, you have to understand, he doesn't do a lot of social media. He doesn't do a lot of texting. Even him and I, it's more on the phone where you pick up the phone and talk. So he would not be texting from that. I do know, which again would be hearsay, that Blair said that she has driven crazy before. He never liked her driving. I asked him if you had gotten into that.
I asked and he said
maybe he
once.
misunderstood. Well, I don't know that Dom drove a lot. Dom was a very safe, slow driver. I mean, so not that he hasn't gotten a speeding ticket here and there on the highway. I'm not saying that. But after my surgery, it was a lot easier for me to drive with him than my other son. Just because I was in so much pain, and he was just really more like an old man driving than, Angelo. So, and not anything against Ange, but that's just, he's more jerky of a driver, than Dom was. It could be the vehicle too, but.
When I asked those questions to Blair, first of all, Blair was very off. Clearly, his mom with the attorney were, we had the interview at the attorney's house, which is a bit unusual. But I asked him if he was a passenger ever with Mackenzie driving. He said once. I'm like, I kind of found that hard to believe, that you've only driven once. And I asked him if he had any concerns about his safety, because again, other people have said, or through the rumor mill, we got the whole idea that she's a reckless driver. Some kids didn't feel safe with her, including her best friend Rosie, who her dad wouldn't let us, talk to her. She wouldn't talk to us. Landon Turner wouldn't talk to us. All these people.
Landon Turner is Bubba. He is in the Netflix document. And also, that's why I'm confused, is because Christine Russo is the mom, but the older sister is also named Christine Russo. Dominic's mom is actually a lawyer in Ohio as well. There is no relationship, from what anybody's been able to find, where Judge Russo is related in any way to this Russo family. But that's why I thought it was the sister at first. And then I heard it and I was like, no, that's the mom. But it looks like they have the same name. So I'm going to update that in the banner so that we know that this is the mother. All right. And yeah, Kenzie was a reckless driver. It's all over social media that she is a bad driver.
Were at the party that night, with the exception of Paul Burlinghouse, nobody else is talking. And all of them kind of either involved their parents and or lawyers. And so we're kind of, at this point, the prosecutor, I did let Tim know, and Tim took their names, and chances are they're going to be subpoenaed for a grand jury. And so are they going to talk? Yeah, eventually they're going to talk, maybe not to me, but they're going to have to answer some questions to Tim. And we're relaying all that
How does that
information.
work with juveniles? Are these juveniles?
No, they're 18 now.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they're off to college. So Rosie's in OU.
It seemed like Mackenzie was one of the younger friends in that group, and she turned 3 days after the accident.
Right.
So I think everybody else had turned just before her.
Right. So, I'm not gonna lie to you. They're the parents are also, some of the parents don't want to get in the middle of this, but I think these kids who are at the Burling house that night have important information to tell us.
Yeah, none
What
of
was
them
the-
are, and you have to realize Dom and Davion went because of Kenzie.
Right.
They're-
Right.
I mean, well, Davion might have known the people because he just graduated, but
We know Kenzie and Rosie planned that night because
Right.
Rosie and Burlinghouse are like best friends.
okay.
So they
So
were
I-
there on behalf of
Right, so
Mackenzie.
I mean,
Dom
he
was
wasn't
tagging
friends
along.
with- right, yeah, exactly.
And Dom was tagging along. So we are, we did ask those questions. And again, nobody's willing to talk. It's all here say, hey, so-and-so says, Kenzie is a bad driver. We never want to be in the car with her. But
A couple people.
nobody
said, but
came up and said 1, 2, 3. We had 4 or 5 people who came in voluntarily, gave statements, and they were good statements. But the people we wanted to talk to, they kind of put up those roadblocks. So I noticed that there were some text exchanges between you and Mackenzie. And a lot of times, at some point there was some I love you exchanges, so maybe she felt comfortable. But can you tell me what the relationship was like between Dom and Kenzie?
Well, Dom was kind of more private with me regarding their arguments, but my son Angelo said that she would threaten him all the time.
How old is Angelo now?
23 or 24.
Okay. And Chris is 26?
6, yeah.
Yeah.
And how this all came up, so the background. I hope nobody's gonna listen to this recording.
No, absolutely. Well,
Tim, the
Okay,
prosecutor.
well, I didn't like Angelo's girlfriend, okay? And didn't really want her around and stuff, and it caused kind of an issue. And he blew up on me one day saying that Kenzie drives Dom crazy and is horrible, and you like her and you'll accept her, but you don't like my girl. And and he would say that all Dom's problems were because of her and being upset. And I needed to realize that she wasn't as sweet and innocent as I thought she was. But the girl had no problem sitting with me, look me in the eye. A lot of these girls can't look me in the eye, and that right there bothers me.
Yeah.
You can't look at me and you can't talk to me. I feel that there's something more. Kenzie was always okay with that, came in wet, had no problems walking in my house, and it was, you know what I mean? And I just,
That made it easier to like her because you didn't
and she
feel
was
like
always
she was
right, and she came over for holidays, and they'd include me and things like that, and I just figured maybe she just needs to grow up. She's young. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
don't think that it's gonna come to this.
What were your vibes, your motherly instincts? What did you feel around Kenzie, especially in the presence of Dominic? Was she genuine or
She was everything that you can tell by her. Everything's all about her, if you notice. Prom pictures. Every single time we try to get a picture, she's all over my son, so I can't even get one without her in it.
Yeah.
He catered to her. She claimed she had a gluten-free problem or something, and I would make dinner, and then I would be questioned on, was the stuff okay for her diet because her stomach, and if I didn't have everything that would have complied with her stomach diet, whatever it was, I never believed it, he would cook for her separate, always. And she's a slob. She never cleaned. Her mother's house is a slob. My house isn't the greatest either, but I'm just saying, it's just, if Dom's gonna cook for you, do the dishes, clean up after yourself. Do you know what I mean? That sort of a thing, but everything was always about her. I mean, like I said, even with her parents, I want you to know that her aunt works for Doug Brill Mill. I have to ask David did. I'm not sure exactly what the lawyer's name is. It's a Lorraine County lawyer, but she's the one that set up the GoFundMe.
She
Yeah,
works
we're aware
with
of
that.
it.
Okay.
Yes, so while Kenzie was in the hospital, they were already making up stories.
Right.
Okay, as to what happened.
Mhm.
With the deer, the epilepsy, the seizure, down to a bunch of other stuff. I had not breathed a word about the mushroom story, not a word to anybody. But I had already heard, oh, well, those had to be Dom's because she was a
No.
juvenile and she was holding his drugs because she was a juvenile. If anybody knows Dom would take a hit before he would put somebody else in harm's way. So this is all that's been fabricated. Per Tim's request, and I feel bad, know the girl forever. I mean, I can't imagine what she's feeling like, whether she did it on purpose, as she claims she knows nothing, she remembers nothing. And she did say,
You've kept in contact with her since?
yes, she did say something that was pretty damning the other day.
Have you seen her in person or just over
I've just seen her twice at the cemetery.
twice at the same? How does she get there? Can she drive?
Her
How is she?
mother takes her in the,
Is she in a wheelchair still?
yeah, she can only put weight on her left leg,
Okay.
and then she's supposed to start some physical therapy.
Okay.
And then I'd also kept in touch because she's dangling photos, she's dangling videos, and where she just pieces one or two out instead of saying, I think you'd enjoyed it. Like we were at the cemetery and we had this bee problem between the two of us. I still have the bee problem. The bee people are coming today. But Dom had called me about the bees, and I don't know what she was recording, but it's all his voice, at least because it has his voice. And so she finally sends me that one. But it's like, she's just
Playing on your emotions.
yeah.
So where was she living the last few months?
Oh, that was it. That was it. That was the whole conversation. I can find it. So she had been begging me to come over to the house because we live between the two houses. Because with Christopher's mental illness, Dom couldn't.
What did you say about Chris?
Christopher's his mental illness.
What's he got have going on?
He has he's been in and out of Oakview. He's
Okay.
got he imagines stuff like he called the police the one day claiming Don had threatened him. We're all sitting there and the
Okay.
police are like,
And I don't want to get away
Get off
from what
track.
you're talking about, but I
But
did see. I want to touch on. There was some text about Dom and Chris having a rough relationship.
yeah, that's why Dom started sleeping a lot next door, even
Okay.
though he still maintained his room and lived with me. But because of that, like I said, Chris called the police on him several times. I'm sure you've got a record of it, claiming this and that. Now,
Okay.
the one day I was in the hospital, Dom was just outside, wanted to get back in to eat breakfast in the house. I have a broken window still from it. Christopher had locked him out and called the police and said Dom was outside threatening, which wasn't true. Then I'm there, I'm out of the hospital now. Chris calls again and says Dom threatened him. I'm sitting right there and I'm like, whatever. Cops come 4 deep or whatever. They talk to Chris. They eventually take him to Oakview because they had realized that he wasn't processing what was really
Is
happening.
he on meds?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's get back to Kenzie.
So why I'm saying all
Yeah.
this was because she's begging me to go over there into that house where he had set up his business and his studio and the things that he was doing, whatever with his job. And I said I'm not touching that stuff. I don't know why she wants to, but then she wanted to take some of his clothes, and then I found out she had a bag of his clothes at her house. And then she says to me, well, I don't understand, why I couldn't go in there where I've been staying for the last 4 months or something, which gave you the living on the own thing. Okay. Now, mind you, mother, I check and see when the car comes home. I check and see it's there.
And we
The
see
night
that.
of the incidents, I had assumed he was home. His car was there. They don't rarely would take Kenzie's car. Now, they did take it to Florida because she has the better gas mileage or whatever. The two of them went together with the mother, with her mom. But
Hold on, so when they drove to Florida, her mom was with them?
yeah, they traveled together. Yeah, in two separate cars though.
Yeah.
So they had two vehicles, so the mom could take the daughter and do different things.
Gotcha.
At Universal, but they piggybacked together.
Gotcha.
So, because I was nervous about that, I said, oh, geez, you know what I mean? They had planned this. I just got out of the hospital. This was like right around Easter. But then my ex and Angelo went, so they met them down there too. So I had a little bit sense okay and kept in touch, and then they came home. But she says that I've been staying there or living there for the last so many months. I have it in a text message since I don't know if your subpoena keeps going through
And
to back up after that.
gotcha. So you can confirm that she has stayed, even as a juvenile at the time, she has been staying outside her
And the
parents'
point
house.
of all of that is the fact that the mom never said, are the kids home? She never checked in with me ever. The only time they would ever come over would be once in a blue moon to drop something off or to take pictures for some event. Do you know what I'm saying? But Kenzie, Dom took her to Polaris. Dom made sure she made it to school. Mom didn't do any of that, okay? So it was all Dom, other than her, obviously, if she could walk to the high school.
How long they've been together?
They said 4 years. I don't.
What's interesting is Natalie probably offered to take Mackenzie to school and stuff like that. But Mackenzie probably told Natalie, no, Mom, that's embarrassing. Dom has a car. Dom can take me. And they're like, okay, Mackenzie. Whatever you say, dear, whatever you say. It's all about you. Because there's another daughter that at some point they were both going to school at the same time. There's not like a huge age gap between them. So, but I bet Mackenzie was like, no, Mom, you're not taking me. I'm going to make Dom take me. Dom will do it.
Know that it was quite that long, but that's what he said, and that's what he told Angelo, that he didn't want to. He felt that it had been 4 years.
When did you notice her coming around? Give or take.
Oh, it's been a few years.
It's
Oh,
been
for
a
sure.
few
Yeah, it
years?
didn't
Okay.
just happen. But
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't know. Like maybe when they first started, they were really young then. Dom wasn't probably driving even. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I
right.
probably didn't see much of her.
Dom ever talk about her driving or her, ever, mention anything to you about, I don't feel safe getting in a car with this girl or anything of that sort?
Like I said, he has stated that she's crazy, that he was concerned about her driving, and clearly that was mentioned before. And I don't know exact language because I didn't remember that I would have to remember was the day on the highway the week before, which was and I'll never. And you said, how do you remember? Well, I know I had testing the next day. I was sick. It was raining. I remember everything about it because I had to go to the hospital the next morning. So nobody could say, "Oh, you just don't remember that day." No, I do. I remember it clear as a bell.
And
And then she sent her dad over to get her purse out of the house, and blah blah blah. And it was. I just said, it's just straight to the dad. This is just stupid.
Did they fight a lot?
According to my son Angelo, yes, they were fighting quite a bit.
Would you mind us talking to Angelo?
And they can get these statements, but the thing is these statements you almost don't even need, because the evidence shows that what is being said is true. There is video evidence of how toxic Mackenzie and Dom's relationship is. There is evidence of her being a crazy driver. And she just wows out. and she's kind of crazy. Like, there's tons and mountains of evidence for these things that, she's making statements about, or she's saying Angelo made statements about, or somebody else made statements about. That's the thing with all this circumstantial evidence, is that you can have somebody come in and testify about it, but there is evidence, non-biased, neutral evidence that shows what they are saying is true, which adds credibility to these witnesses. The incident that happened like a week before this, week or two before this, that's in text messages. It's verified that story, this is what happened. So, they have corroborating statements and witnesses all saying the same thing.
Would he be one of?
I actually, if you didn't make it, I mean, he's sort of lately been having a tough time getting up in the morning. Just, I think he was really strong for me through all of this. But if you could make it a little bit later in the day,
we could.
break it
Absolutely.
up.
We're still going through her phone. So the search warrant we got through her phone, there's 80 gigabytes of data.
Her and
Between
Dom had
31,000 text messages or exchanges, which is, that's an astronomical
That's
number.
ridiculous.
That's why it's taking us forever to get to these interviews.
Yeah, she's more of a texter than Dom is.
Right.
Like I said, me and Dom rarely text. I might say I love you or whatever, but he he usually would call. And that was more his style, than.
One thing that came up with when I talked to Blair was the goodbye messages and the phone call from Dom the wee hours of the morning of the crash. He said Dom FaceTimed with him or called, but Blair was asleep, so he missed the call. And he's pretty torn over this because he's like, I wish I was awake to know what he wanted, because that's that mystery that he'll never know. And so he said, according to him, that Dom sent like I love you type messages to family members.
No, I
And to
think that,
friends.
I don't know about that. The only thing I do know is he texts his dad, love you, Dad, or whatever.
Is that unusual?
No, I don't think that it was anything unusual for him. I don't know. I guess him and his dad have had a rocky relationship their whole life. Do you know what I mean? So who knows? Maybe the kid had a freaking premonition and felt guilty because they did. Dom was young when I got divorced, and his dad made it some of the visitation difficult for them, and with him being young, it was
harder on him than the other two.
Have you been able to talk to his dad since the crash?
I talked to him.
He called me last week. I don't know if he
He
told you
told
that.
me he was going to call you.
He wanted to know the status, why we're still investigating, why this is not
Well, yeah, and I don't trust him, and we've told him we don't trust him because he sat there and he's doing some voodoo. I called him hysterical.
right.
The night that it happened, I was in tears. I just didn't want to forget what had happened. I was so upset. And they claim that, that Dom from Beyond has told them through this, like a Ouija board thing, that the accident wasn't Kenzie's fault. Well, how could it not be? When Kusne tells me that the 360, which I don't understand, I'm not technological savvy, okay, that she's driving fine and then accelerates at one point to this point and doesn't stop.
So you talked to Husney?
Well, he called, after Davion's funeral, Husney introduced me to the parents of the wake, and then I had I couldn't deal with anybody, so I went late to the church, but I felt I wanted to pay the kid respect. And I left before they did the procession, so I just to be there for the mass, and he had called complaining about talking shit, basically, about things that he was disappointed in, and not facetious. I would want the mom or the parents to know, but him and I had a few criticisms about the way that the funeral was handled and them being gone, and things like that. I don't know if he just used me as a sounding board, because he was very close with them. But he just started with blah, blah, blah. And then he went on to say, you better not let this go. That I know that this is, she did this on, basically, I don't want to replace the kids' words.
And it's
but-
okay, because, we talked to Houston.
Him and Tyler Croy.
Yeah, and
They're
then
very
he was
good
just
friends.
very angry and just said that, you better not let that. I said, I'm not gonna let this go. I said, it's in the police. I said, well, even if I said, oh, it's fine. Yeah, I said, it's still a crime. So I got 2 dead kids, so, but so he just vented for a little bit and I hadn't talked to him, much after that, but, and I did hear a little bit like from some of the other kids that, he maybe exaggerates a little bit the way, he doesn't know everything like he claims he knows, blah, blah, blah. But don't get wrapped up in what the kid tells you, you know what I mean? Because I thought it was odd too that he would call and criticize about the funeral, right, and the things, and then not coming back and the neighbor being all pissed off.
So, are there any rumors that you would want us to confirm or dispel for you? Anything? Because
I told you
want
the
to
big
try
thing
to.
was that mushroom thing, okay, which I did, again,
The mushroom was found on her person.
But I know that.
It's on
but
body
I'm saying
cam.
I have not said a word. I was told that, nothing you guys have said has left my brain, okay?
The mushrooms were tested. They came back. It's an F2 given the quantity. It was above the bulk amount. It was on her
It's that
person.
much, huh?
Yes.
See, because I asked him, I've been in a mushroom case in freaking years.
They're really, listen, I've spent the last 4 years in the DEA task force. This is the second time in 4 years I've seen
Yeah.
mushrooms.
It's a large quantity,
Yeah,
and
right.
the
It was
medics were the
surprising.
ones who searched her when they strapped her to the gurney before the life flight. It was
Right.
even Berea. It wasn't even Strongsville. So it's all on the body cam of the officer. The medic reaches in, grabs it, gives it to the officer. So you're not able to pin it on down.
Right, but I'm telling you, that was the big thing. And I was like, well, that's not his character.
Right.
And
No.
why in the hell, if they're driving home sober at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever time it was, would that be there? Like, I still don't know whose backpack's in the car. I don't know what happened to his necklace.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't even know. I know I called you guys one night hysterical. I don't know who I talked to, but I just didn't know what happened to his clothes. I didn't know.
So the car is in our possession. It's secured in one of our bays because it's evidence at this point. Everything else that we were able to collect from the car that we were able to get is in property. Everything. The only things that I released were, the necklace that I found out,
yeah.
a couple of things, and everything was with the prosecutor's approval. I wasn't going to release.
Well, I don't know. Tim wasn't thrilled. He wanted you to just keep her phone. He goes, but we can't keep her phone forever. But
Right.
I said, well, how can you? I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, and
Well, that's amazing that Ohio knows that you can't keep the phone forever because Norfolk County up in Massachusetts, they think that they can just keep a phone forever just because. But some of this stuff is weird. Especially if it's from her dad and some others. And I love the quacks of justice or for justice.
That was a good move on Zacky's part. He made a good deal because
we had to make a deal with the devil. And you're a defense lawyer. You're an excellent lawyer. You know how this goes. At this point, we served the search warrant. That seizure of the phone becomes unreasonable. What am I holding on to the phone for? We gave her the phone back in exchange for the code. Had we not gotten that code, that phone possibly could have had to go to Israel, to the lab, to the Cellbrite, to crack into it. again, or the feds or something, you know, it would have been very difficult. Apple doesn't make things easy for police to get into.
Oh,
That's
I
one.
know, I have an old
Number-
phone that I can't get into either.
And number
I don't remember
two,
the code.
as you might already know, I wanted to give her a rope and let that go on the record. I wanted to give her the phone back, see what she's going to do with it. And she did. I mean, she was making modeling, you know, talking to this modeling company from the hospital about her future plans with no regard to the fact that she took 2 innocent lives, or at least contributed to.
Which is interesting because they're saying they gave it back there because they got the phone code. You know, they were able to download it. And we've played just Natalie's portion of the sentencing. We will go over the sentencing in full, but Natalie says she didn't even have her phone. The police still had it. The police say, no, we gave it back. So, you know, one has more credibility than the other in this particular case.
The loss of life. So it was a strategic decision that I made that I will.
Oh yeah, I'm
you know,
not saying I.
and I know,
just wanted to make a
you know,
joke about
right.
it.
No, and again, Tim and I talked, and I said, listen, sometimes you kind of
Right.
have to, you know, her mom called over 10, 15 times here wanting the phone back. And so once we served the search warrant and we had the,
You needed had what you
you know,
needed.
we got all that.
I gotcha.
So that takes me to the next, to the Dom's phone. I know you asked Jason for Dom's phone. I do have Dom's phone, and what I was going to say is a lot of the friends were not cooperative with us, and I'm wondering if there is anything on Dom's phone. We looked through Davion's phone. We asked the parents, and granted, the parents had no standing in his case, but I know with Dom's phone, it's registered to your law firm, so you do have standing. Whether or not you would consent to letting us look.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't
Okay.
because I have so many confidential communications, even with my son
Fair
about
enough.
other people that he would call me or, you know, and talk about, but he's not friends with any of those people.
And we, you know, all we got from at least Blair and from talking to him is that there were those phone calls or at least attempts to make calls the morning of the crash. So in particular, we're not looking to
Oh, I can
tarnish.
go on my
his-
Verizon and print off his call log. I have absolutely no problem doing
I am
that.
interested.
Can you get text messages through my?
I will just say, because we call balls and strikes here, it's weird that she's not willing to hand over Dom's phone. That is weird. And they didn't decide to get a search warrant for it. She's like, I'll provide you the call logs and things like that, but just willy-nilly handing over the phone, no. But as a lawyer, she knows if they get a subpoena or a search warrant for it, she has to. But they didn't do that here. So, you know, I don't know why she's so protective over that phone. I don't know that it necessarily would prove anything in this case, but I just don't know. She's very protective over it, and it's very odd. But she is a lawyer too, so that might just be part of it.
Horizon.
I will find out.
From the night of the 30th.
I know, like in Medina, because they're always really more so than Cuyahoga, just they're freaks about phones and all that
Mhm.
stuff. And we will get printouts. They're harder to go through because it's not the bubbles like we like
Yeah,
to see
yeah, right.
on the thing, but it'll show the number and it'll show the statement.
Sure.
So, but that's one thing. It's like I got kids right now with
Right.
cases of phone. I can't. That are his friends. Yeah.
My main concern is, like I said, we're not looking to, you know,
Oh, I
tarnish
I'm
his
not-
name.
I don't think the kid didn't do anything.
Right.
I mean, I don't.
all we
I
want to
just-
know is those
if there's
calls
anything
were,
else that went through.
did he
yeah.
vent that night to somebody? Maybe did he take a picture of her sleeping at the house? Did he, anything that
I
would
think
shed some light on what happened?
I don't know that I could do anything with it, and I'll frankly tell you why the phone's so important. Dom, not only did we have, he started that business, he had his college fund that he was using money to make multiple investments, and I've asked, which I don't do a whole lot of probate, but Loretta, my lawyer, I said, how am I gonna, like some of them will say, take a text message to verify your identity.
Mhm.
So anything, like he has a laptop, but his cryptocurrency, all that shit's gonna be on there. I don't know, because you said it was smashed. I don't know if I wanna go to Verizon and say, hey, can we at least transfer it? So I could try to find out where's right now, even my son said.
So her son can't be charged with anything that's in the phone. But if there are people that are doing illegal stuff that are on her phone, she is not going to release that so that the police can go after anybody that was involved in some of the stuff that Dom did. Because while Dom didn't deserve to die, he was not a perfect angel. So she says that's who she's protecting, confidential people and information and protecting them, and she's not going to out them to the police. Okay.
We could be getting killed in the stock market, and we don't even have his stocks. We did put one in my name that we did together because he was too young for them to establish it, but the rest of the accounts he established.
Okay.
I mean, I know where he banks at, that's not an issue, but I don't know about these stock accounts. And because this freaking paperless shit, nothing comes to the house. I get the bank statement to the house, but I was with him and told the bank, just do a paper copy. Because everything's with this wireless shit, I have nothing to even go on.
Yeah.
What kind of business was Dom running?
He did, he were making music, he set up a studio, and then people would come and pay him, and he would help them
In the
with
house
studio
next door.
time.
Sound and
That's where he
yeah.
conducted, and he made his own songs, and that was how he was making his money. Plus, like I said, I didn't hand over all his money, just so you know. I mean, he would say, give me 10 grand, I'm gonna put it in this stock, or so I would order the checks out of it. It was a uniform gift to minors up to 21.
Mhm.
So, but I don't know, like I said, even the one that me and him had together, I think I don't get statements on that either. So even Angelo says I could be trading the stock or buying and selling, we can't do nothing.
Okay.
And that only mine,
Yeah.
it's in my name, he could have with my permission. I can't
Right.
do nothing with Dom's. I just gotta turn it over to Loretta to see if we can get, that money back.
I will contact him once we're done here, let him know, because like I said, since the Mackenzie's phone, I run everything by him. Hey, you good with us releasing?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't know.
We haven't looked into it though.
I don't know if it's even possible. I don't know. If that's the case, then the only thing I can hope is Verizon tells me you can pull it from the cloud. Do you see what I'm saying? Because a lot of stuff, so I may be able to do that. I know I can definitely get all the call logs.
That's,
I get it now.
the
And
calls
then I
and
can
the texts
go
were
from
on.
there.
Right, and that's, like I said,
Like I said, he's more of a caller than a texter. And that was just, and I think the only reason he texted his dad late was because it was late.
Okay. Like I said, based on that conversation with Blair, it just seemed, even by his own admission, it's just unusual. And, calling Blair late at night, like maybe he did have a feeling, or
Well, I did.
maybe there was something.
I
some
made
kind of
the comment the week before. We all went to dinner with my mom. And I said, why didn't we take a picture? And Ange goes, yeah, we're going to take a picture of all of us at dinner. I said, yeah, that picture will never happen again. Not thinking my son, but you know what I'm saying? That definitely was what the Lord was putting in my brain. I was thinking my mom or my stepdad would have passed. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
He just turned 80. You know what I'm saying? Not the opposite. So I don't know that, but I was clueless, obviously.
If this goes to trial, as you might expect, through discovery, that her defense lawyer, Jim McDowell.
Oh, that's what she hired?
Yeah.
Yeah,
McDonald?
well,
McDowell or
third one
McDowell.
now, so it's changed a couple times, but I think it's
She had Brad Koff from Columbus who referred her to Stephen McGowan, and all of a sudden,
Oh, Steve
Jim.
McGowan. I love Steve McGowan. He's old.
been around forever.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He won't work the case. It's kind of like Stu Libby. They don't watch videos. They don't listen to recordings.
No, it's too much for him.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Which is just it's
Jim
terrible.
is now representing her. So all these
That's weird.
texts.
So I'm wondering if the aunt, because I think it was Doug Will, some lawyer from Lorraine. I was told that, and so maybe he just couldn't do it. Maybe he's not.
I do not know, but there were some text exchanges between you and
And we've heard in Steve and Natalie interviews, they hated Jim. They thought he was horrible. And he did nothing for them. But I think they would have hated anybody, no matter what she would have been convicted for. Even if she would have been convicted of the thing that they're like, oh, like negligent homicide or, you know, something like a manslaughter or something like that. I still think they would have been pissed off. Because they're baby.
Mackenzie, where she talks about Dom's mental health. And I know this is something that potentially could come up. So I just have to ask. Dom suffered from depression.
Mm-mm.
No. Any mental issues that, you know, they
No, and in fact, when they were, you know, my ex family was going to try to kill Christopher at the house, and Dom intervened, got charged, which he shouldn't have because he was a victim. They came with guns and everything strapped to kill Christopher. We had to take a mental health exam for the court, and that was turned into Berea Court. I do have a copy of it. He had to take a mental health and drug exam, and I don't remember what the mental health part of it, but I remember the drugs and reading, because the drug and alcohol thing that he had tried it. He had reported that he had tried alcohol a couple times at some parties. Now, mind you, this was done a year ago. Okay,
Right.
Just it wasn't done yesterday. Okay,
Right.
And then then the only other issue was he had the medical marijuana card, and they did not find that was a drug issue because he was using
He
it.
did have a medical marijuana card. Did he? What did he get that for?
Well, he had an injury in basketball for his ankle. And again, I wasn't with the doctor that prescribed it, but he experienced a lot of pain. We were seeing an ankle specialist over at Southwest. Then he wanted him to go for MRIs. They went to Sherwood, so he's too young or something stupid. I don't know. But he had an ankle. He always wore an ankle brace quite a bit. And I have a lot of like tendon issues. I had a lot of braces that I was giving him. So he experienced from basketball a lot of pain at the ankle and stuff that helped with.
In December 2020, December 28th.
Which makes me wonder, you know, was Dom getting in trouble when he was playing basketball? Or was it after he kind of had to quit playing basketball because of the aches and pains? And if Dom wasn't getting in trouble before then, how much that one thing changed his life? Because maybe if Dom was, you know, still playing basketball and all that, he wasn't going to have as much extra time to be getting into shenanigans. I mean, it's one of the main reasons people put their kids in activities. Not saying that kids in activities can't be up to shenanigans, but they don't have as much time to be bored and looking for trouble. So that's an interesting question. I don't know that I'll ever get the answer, but would Dom and Mackenzie even be a thing if he was still able to play basketball?
Mackenzie texted you saying Dom is saying he wants to hurt himself. And she goes on to say, you know, come over and help. And then you reply by saying he's all right, and in a Brett mode, hit his head on the wall.
I don't know, Patrick, why they let her live on the property or stay with them on the property. Maybe because Dom was an adult. But it was still their property, you know, it wasn't like Dom's. He didn't pay for all of that. It was part of the parents. But that's a good question because, like, I could see why Steve and Natalie would be like, oh, yes, it's going to be so nice not to have Mackenzie here stirring up drama all the time. Let her go live with them. But why did Dom's family let her stay there? Because I would have been like, absolutely not. The first time I saw some toxic shit like that, I'm like, nope, you can go somewhere else. Sorry. And I would tell my son or whatever, if you want to stay with that, then you're going to have to stay somewhere else because it's not going to be here because she's not allowed back on this property. I don't know.
What did I say?
You said
In a Brett
he's all
mode?
right, and in Brett mode, hit his head on the wall. I don't know if you remember that.
Basically, he was just angry
He was
because he
just-
hit his head, but there was a couple times
Oh,
that
no, he
Mackenzie-
was angry because he hit his head. I remember
Okay.
that. Yeah,
So
he hit his head,
nothing-
so he got mad.
So no indication that he wanted to hurt himself.
No.
Okay.
No, I'd have to ask Angelo, but I think any death threats usually came from her.
Okay.
Or, you know, I'll kill myself if you break up with me, or I'm gonna do this if you break up with me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In January 2021, Kenzie texted you about
And I can so see Mackenzie saying that type of stuff. She is the type of girl that would totally say it. That she would do something to herself if he broke up with her. And then Dom would want her to do that. I mean, it's a manipulation. If you follow me with Laura Owens, that's something she does as well. She plays that card. The forever victim card. True victims don't need to play that card the way that fake ones do.
saying about herself. I was feeling all weird and having she meant lot, of anxiety from withdrawal. You know what she's withdrawing from? Did you know she has a drug dependence issue?
Oh.
This was sent to you, to your phone.
Do
Do you know what she's talking about?
I just wanted to leave my phone. Was begging him to give me, and he didn't give me. The only thing I can think, withdrawal, that would be a withdrawal symptom. God, I'd really have to go back and read them all. At one point with the stomach thing, okay, they had thought she had some, I don't know the name of the disease, something that had to do with marijuana, but marijuana doesn't cause withdrawal symptoms. But she was supposedly couldn't smoke marijuana because they were thinking that was part of this issue. It's some.
See, I don't agree with, well, okay. Let's talk about it this way. Marijuana may not have, like, to me, you can be addicted to marijuana. You can. Because you want that high, you're chasing that feeling, whatever. Now, is it fully like nicotine or some prescription meds and drugs and stuff like that? Not necessarily. But I have seen people who they have gone way too long without a hit because that's something they depend on, go off the rails from marijuana. So it's not necessarily the drug that's causing the side effects. It's your addiction and the way your brain is programmed that has you wanting that, and because you can't have it. And I'm not against marijuana. I think it should be legalized and you put limitations on it, just like you do everything else, tax it, all that. But I do think it is addicting. And I've seen plenty of people just lose it because they've gone too long without a hit. And maybe that's just addictive personality for that, and not the drug itself.
Condition that you develop from smoking marijuana? Don't ask me. I don't know,
Okay.
unless it's stated in that.
Did you know her to smoke marijuana?
I never seen her do it, but now that she admitted to me at the cemetery that she hasn't smoked since she got out of the hospital. And I had known about the condition, she wasn't smoking, but I'm sure she was back smoking again because
I'm sorry, what? She hadn't been using since the hospital? I call bullshit on it. And parents, please follow what your kids are doing on social media. Learn it. It's the way of the future anyways. Just get with the times, because technology is not going anywhere. But it is the best way to monitor what your kid is doing, who their friends are, because you would have known, because Mackenzie probably would have let you follow her, what she was doing, because it's all over her social media. And I get Dom was an adult, but you could have done it when he wasn't an adult. And then you would have already been there once he got to that level. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but, and I'm like Monday morning quarterbacking this, but please pay attention to what your kids are doing, who they're hanging out with, what those people do and stand for, because it can affect things that happen to your child.
she just brought it up to me.
Yeah.
Not like she sat there and smoked in front of me or anything,
Right.
you know.
But to just bring it up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't, but well, that's because when she was getting sick with the stomach thing, this is
Yeah.
how a lot of this started, was with her stomach, but it was, I know that she had to, one of the things was, and I don't know what the condition is, I might be able to ask Angelo, but it was something where they said that the doctor told her she couldn't smoke marijuana anymore, and then that didn't, I don't know if that really turned out. I think that whole issue ended too with that, and which eventually led to the stupid gluten-free thing
Okay.
that was going on. But I mean, why would she? Maybe withdrawal. I mean, you don't withdraw from marijuana.
Okay.
I don't think that she used any other drugs. I don't. I was kind of shocked about the whole mushroom thing. I mean, like I said, the parents were odd, but who cares? Do you know what I'm saying? Most of these kids got med cards for different reasons. Do you know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
I don't know that. I highly doubt it. That would be a term that you'd use for like heroin or something.
Right.
But maybe in her mind, she was withdrawing.
And that's
from
why it caught our
Right.
attention,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
not something you normally see
No.
with
Right.
Yeah.
And so the last one, that's the one text that kind of stood out from the week before the crash on July 17th, where she texted you saying, "Come get Dom. He grabbed the steering wheel on the highway, trying to spin out my car and hurt me." And she kind of played it off to where
No, she totally, that's what she always did. Everything was always Tom's fault. She
I'm
always
scared
twisted it around.
because of driving in the rain. If he doesn't get out of my car, I'm calling my dad. And then you said Hench is on the way. Who's Hench?
That's Christopher Martin, that's his nickname. He's the fellow that went and picked up Dom.
And did Chris say anything about what transpired? Did he tell you like, oh, Christine, when I
No,
picked him
that day
up-
he called me and said that, Mom, you, and in this calm of a voice, I mean, like I said, we talk more than we text. Mom, you need to come get me. Kenzie's being crazy. She's threatening to crash the car on the highway. Okay, are you pulled over? Yes. Where at on the highway? Okay, I'm laying on the couch. Which I was glad because I had Christopher not my son Christopher, Hench, on his way
Mhm.
to get him while I stayed on the phone with Dom till I knew that he was there and she didn't do anything. And then after, that's when she just started ranting. I didn't pay attention to her.
Mhm.
Ranting and started blaming him for everything. It's like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I said, I don't really care. Just don't fight in the car. And it seems that she did that because he had like little tiny stupid fender bender things with her in the car. You know, just like nothing, no damage, anything. But, you know, Kenzie had me in mailbox because she was fighting with him in the car. And Ange again could probably tell you more details, but I don't
Mhm.
know if she grabbed the steering wheel. I mean, it was my own mailbox. It wasn't a crime.
Okay, maybe Ange is the sister. Which really confuses me with Chris Cuomo's interview. See, now I'm all confused. Because people have called certain people, I think some people have names wrong. That or I was just a dummy, which that could be the case too.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there has been, since she started driving, more of the issue of her. But again, everything's always Dom's fault.
Right.
Right.
We can kind of see it from the text where there's a
Yeah,
lot of
she
that
just-
blame,
exactly.
shifting
Mhm.
blame.
Yes.
So, did you know where they were going that morning? Did you have any idea? Did Dom say anything the night before, like, "Hey, we're gonna be at this party and then we're going there"?
Yeah.
Where were they
I was
going?
making, he said that they had a couple of graduation parties
Mhm.
to go to. And I had said that, that I was making some dip and some other things or whatever, and Blair had come over and I said, okay, this stuff's getting done or whatever. And his impression was, I know he texted me, all right, at one point I had talked to them. He didn't think they were gonna be gone. Then I texted him and had said, something like, this dip's done or whatever. And he said, okay, well, we shouldn't be long. We'll be back in a little bit or whatever. And then that was it. Blair said that Dom really didn't want to go to these parties. That's what I was told, that he did it for Kenzie. Wasn't friends with the people, wasn't thrilled about going.
We know the first party they went to was in Parma. It wasn't even a Strongsville.
I heard that there was no parents at a Lakewood house too. That was another party. Did Tusney tell you about that? This is where I'm getting a lot of my information.
And based on what we were able to track back to almost 8 p.m. and there was no indication they were in Lakewood. They were in Parma Heights area. We even have the LPR because we ran the license plate for the Toyota and saw what time they were going where. So we knew they went to Parma, and after that, they ended up on Brushwood, and that's where they spent the
That's Burling
6-7 hours.
And that's the one that's behind Whitney, by the way.
Yes. Brushwood has two entrances.
Not
They don't
really.
connect, but they were off of Whitney.
Okay.
We kind of know that for a fact, and they left there about 5:30.
Yeah, he just, again, and again, everybody's told me don't live and die by what Houston has to say, because he doesn't know
Yeah,
everything, but he had thought that there was, he was the one that alerted me that there weren't parents supervising these
Right.
parties.
I think a lot of what's going on with him is grief. So now, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because I talked to him and Dom were pretty close. So I think a lot of him, I don't want to say conspiracy theory, but his digging and his own investigating, I think he's getting some of this information. So yeah, don't put too much into, because between the grief and the anger at Mackenzie and him doing his own digging and talking to people and that, I think people are staring him at some
And what's weird too is I had heard, and I probably from Houston, I don't wanna just say it's put it all on this kid, but before I had heard the mushroom story, I had heard that all these people at this party were like tripping or whatever. But I didn't hear it on mushrooms. When I think of tripping, I think of acid. I don't know if that still goes around these days like it used to in the 70s or 80s, whenever it was. But I haven't been in an acid case in a long time either. So,
Yeah. It's coming on a weird
but
part.
I just, like I said, none of them were big drinkers. I didn't really see
Right.
them ever. fucked
We
up.
know
You know what I mean? It just none of the three of them even. Now, did I ever?
That's something I can't believe either. I am sorry, I'm not going to believe that Dom and Mackenzie were not big drinkers, big partiers. I think they were. Maybe Mackenzie more than Dom, but now I don't know about Davion. But I don't know. Some of what she's saying, she's just being a protective mother and stuff like that and trying to make her son out to be the best of the best, but and she's biased, but I'm just not buying that one.
Go to a party with Kenzie? No, I never did. But I've seen her quite a bit. I've never seen her screwed up on anything. I've never seen my son screwed up on anything. Davion, I didn't know very long, but he was kind of the same way. I mean, like I said, they were always doing something. If they're not making music, they were working on the car. They were, you know what I mean? It wasn't.
Did they
just
ever
nothing.
fight or argue in front of you? Mackenzie and Dom?
No, of course not.
No.
No, because then I could be a witness to what.
Yeah, no, Mackenzie's not that dumb. Because this mama would have probably tore her a new one. Which I still wish that Dom's sister would have beat Mackenzie's ass. Because somebody needs to. That's just my opinion, though.
She's claiming.
So Angelo would probably be able to.
Because
shed
then
more
Dom,
light.
right, Dom would vent more.
Were Angelo and Dom close?
Yes, very
Okay.
close.
What's a good phone number for Angelo? And if you don't mind, would you?
Interesting. Not interesting. I don't know why I read that as I was thinking the Russos. But oh yeah, for sure. Kenzie's parents didn't give a damn what she did. Mackenzie can do whatever she wants. Let's see, what's so important in Dom's house that she wanted in there so badly that she couldn't hide her desperation? His hide, money, product. That's a good question, Sid. You know, I think she just wants to, there's probably lots of things. There are some text messages that she texted Angelo, Dom's brother, about photos. And I think there's some other info in some of the other texts, which we will get to eventually as we're going through this. But I think she just wanted everything. She felt like Dom was something that she owned, and everything that was his was hers.
Be kind enough to let him know that probably next week sometime we're gonna give him a call and try to set something up.
Yeah, I'll talk. All right, Angelo. 440-773.
Wow.
And like I said, he could probably, I mean, probably just, you know, give you more of the gripes. I don't think that, I mean, if there was a situation where I was around, Dom would come to me and say, you know what I mean, Kenzie's doing this, and Kenzie's doing that. And, I mean, he just,
Which is interesting because it makes it sound like you weren't around because you don't know. It seems like you don't even know your own son almost. Um, the siblings know him, which I can get. Like, kids can be closer with their siblings more so than their parents, obviously. I didn't tell my parents shit when I was growing up. So, but that's interesting that she said that. So, all right, let's get back to this. But she's like, well, if I was around, it didn't sound like you were around much. Maybe because you're a busy attorney, but whatever.
probably, I mean, more so than not referred her as being crazy. Crazy. I mean, do you know what I'm saying? But again, she's a young girl. I wish I would have just read more into it. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I never would have dreamed in a million years. Do you know what I'm saying? That I would be having to worry about this.
Right.
Even when the police came, I said, they don't even drink, really. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I did it. Now, like I said, and then, you know, my concern is I don't know if or when, because of the way those text screens come out, if or when she would have ingested anything. I still don't think, even if she was high on those mushrooms, that's would have been the case.
And
I just don't. I mean, from what I know, what I've read about, I mean, like I said, yes, maybe on acid, that's something more bad, but you don't really hear. I mean, people are, when you interview clients and talk to them about it and you study it, it's more of a, although I did read about it the other day too, I forgot, but more of you, like a happier type of a situation. It's supposed to make you more giggly or whatever. I forget the description. You know what I mean? So
What's making this a bit difficult, at least for the two of us, is you know, just looking at the driving on Progress. Progress Drive is not a straight line, and so the medical theory. I mean, we're eliminating theories at this point. You know, we put, you know, what could a defense lawyer come after us for? So, you know, mechanical, medical, OVI, or other to include suicide. And I can tell you, I am substantially certain that mechanical is out. We had a forensic mechanic. We had the EDR report. Judge John Russo saw when he signed the search warrants, and he signed 10 out of the 11 search warrants for us. I mean, he looked into some of the data from the car. You know, something was up. And so that's.
What would the other defense be? I mean,
the other defense would be the OVI, like she was so impaired that she hadn't. But then again, if we know that Davion was awake because he sent a text at 5:30. He commented on a picture that was sent to him from a friend, and he's like, "Oh, this is cool," or something like that. So we knew he was up. No indication from him that there was something going on. And as they make the turn, you can see on video that there's like somebody had a screen up, likely Dom.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you, Sid. Welcome. Something that's interesting is at the beginning, this case was assigned to Judge Russo, but Judge Russo is a male. Judge John J. Russo. So that's not who did the sentencing, which I'm guessing the same judge that the trial was done with was the same judge that was Oh, Nancy Russo. Okay, thank you. Are John and Nancy married? And then there was a Michael Russo, but I believe he passed away. It just seems like Russo's a common name up there. I mean, maybe these judges are all related, but which is, if that's the case, then okay. Yeah, because I knew it was a female for the trial, but I just heard him say John, and I was like, well, wait, there was a female judge. Okay. But there was a John Russo, a Nancy Russo, and a Michael Russo. They were all in different types of courts. And I don't know if any of those three were related in any way. And then, of course, you have Dominic Russo. But if all of them are related and this one's not, okay. But I mean, I could see them wanting to know about it, but there's just no evidence. And you can't just go throwing shit out there. But they're not smart enough to know that because Natalie and Steve are a bunch of dumbasses.
His phone was on or something.
Yeah, you could see a light.
You can
coming
see the
from
light.
car when they turned from Pearl on to Progress.
But it doesn't
Like the
explain, and I'm sure, one day it'll come out. It doesn't explain those last 2 seconds.
I mean, you've driven down Prospect, what, 1,000 times? You lived in Shelbyville forever. So we all know it has those two curves.
Oh, and don't let her tell you that she is unfamiliar with
No,
Progress.
I
Okay.
eliminated that this morning.
Okay, because I'm gonna tell you, when we went for prom pictures, the guy that was going with us, she kept telling me, oh, just cut through on Progress. She knew, and that was the way that I went to my office. I've not driven down that street since July.
Yeah.
She's at that memoriam all the time. How do you go to the scene where you just killed 2 people?
She knew Progress.
We knew.
Progress, and we all know. I mean, it's bumpy from the semis. There's curves.
Yeah.
If she was impaired, if she fell asleep, you wouldn't have navigated that. It doesn't make sense.
Not to mention Dom and or Davion
Being awake.
moved her, yanked her, did something to, at least offset the impact of the crash.
Right.
But
If she's sitting there driving and she goes like this, someone's gonna grab that wheel. They're gonna say, "Holy shit, she passed out. She fell asleep. She something."
Your foot wouldn't stay on the gas either that fast.
I agree with him there. That's why the falling asleep, passing out, having a seizure doesn't play. And the throttle would still not be at 100% when it was going. It would have lifted up. And none of that happened. And I think one of the boys would have taken control. That didn't happen here.
right. So, and I don't want to.
And it would have stopped when she hit the sign.
That's another issue. Yeah.
But the speed at which this all happened.
She keeps telling me that she wished she would have died. She keeps saying that it should have been me. And now she wants to talk shit all then. I know it's different when people die, but she's got nothing but going around about how perfect and wonderful he was. And that basically saying I'm a piece of shit and he was a great person. I mean, so didn't bring up, oh, he's got mental health issues and all that other shit that she wants to.
And the only reason I asked, again, through discovery.
No, I don't care. I've got the exam. Like I said, I mean, and
you're obviously gonna get everything we have at the end of this thing.
And
So
believe me,
you just have
we're
to tell me what you want from me.
we would like
The call log.
the call log and text log from, I'd say, the night off. So that 10 p.m. when we knew they went to Brushwood. From 10 p.m. the night of the 30th until the time of the crash.
The end of September. I don't know. They should have asked me last month, but they should at least preserve them, I think, for 90 days.
Right. And again,
No.
to us, it's just gonna maybe, we can't compel people, those who don't want to cooperate, and that's what the prosecutor is going to use his state power for.
I don't know.
I'm surprised at how uncooperative kids are in this matter,
Right.
frankly, considering.
She claims she gets threatened all the time. She claims that, nobody, basically the general.
She probably does get threatened all the time. If they're talking about like witnesses, not Mackenzie, which Mackenzie could get threats too, but I could see people not speaking up getting threatened, or Mackenzie saying, I'll have my people beat your butt if beat your ass if you say shit to the police. I can totally see that happening. And Sid, you asked a question, what my thoughts were on how the car hit the wall on a corner and mostly on the passenger side. Yeah, I mean, granted, it was the side of the road they were driving on, which it would have been that way either. But I mean, she could have gone across the lane and done something else and made it on her side. But I think it was just the natural way for a car to veer off. Because she would have had to go over into the other lane and then like go off on her side of the road. She just took the natural route, because that would have been really, really bizarre. And I don't know if it was purposely to hit that side or not. I think it doesn't matter at the end of the day. I don't think she thought she would live through it either. And it was like, well, we're going to be together forever. All right. And here they are. They're not together forever because she killed him.
Position in the community is that she did this on purpose. She's texted me, I wouldn't do this on purpose. It's just, and that was when I didn't ever even bring this up. She's volunteered that. She's volunteered a lot of that.
I think she's getting a lot of that from that Hoosney Croy.
There's a group of kids who are very much upset. And I know because her mom called and she kept saying, they're saying mean things. Well, I can't go after everybody.
Get off social media, lady.
I
mean, the mom was in the hospital. The first thing that she said to me when I called, I was hysterical after finding out. And she says, "Oh, are you calling about Facebook?" If I could have punched her and chucked the phone.
We went there, and her biggest concern was what people are posting on the Strongsville page, and can we intervene? And that was her biggest concern when we walked in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Natalie's not a huge First Amendment person. When it comes to other people talking about her daughter, social media is mean. People are mean. Yeah, when your kid kills two people accidentally or on purpose, people are going to say bad shit. I can agree with that Bubba is a tool to intimidate others. But I think Bubba is about as dumb as a box of rocks. But yeah, they are so worried about the appearance of the internet. And I mean, we see that when we get to the jail phone calls, we will see how much Mackenzie is worried about social media and her mom running her Instagram and things like that and wanting to post sexy pics. It's just insane. And they will use their First Amendment right to shit talk everybody and say what they want. But they want the police to arrest people saying mean things about their daughter. Our baby.
So, I'm not saying she did it on purpose, but to me, there's just, the pieces are not fitting in. We know the evidence. We've seen the video. We've seen all of it. It just does not add up. And so when I inquire about the suicide theory, well, there's a reason behind it. And I think in talking to Tim.
So were you meaning that Kenzie was trying to kill herself when you talked to Blair? Because Blair made it sound like you were acting like the three of them. And
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That he misunderstood.
Blair was, you'll get to listen to the interview, but Blair was just not all there. I mean, first of all, I don't know if he's, the way he acted, if he's normally that way. Very, very reserved, very reluctant. He kept asking for specifics. And I said, well, describe the relationship between the two. What do you mean? Well, what were they like in public? Were they lovey-dovey? Did they argue? And well, give me more examples. Like he was very much coached into that interview. And his lawyer, when he said, when I noticed he wanted to say something, like he mentioned the name of a friend, Dom, one of Dom's good friends from Lakewood, Kyle something, Harper. I was like, well, can I get Kyle's information so I can give him a call? Well, his lawyer steps in and, so there was a lot, he was coached. It's obvious. I mean, I've done this long enough to know who's coached and who's genuinely trying to help the investigation.
Everyone's circling the cow. They're protecting themselves at this point.
Nobody's.
He wasn't even there.
I don't know. I don't know. I know the Shirillas have reached out to some of the kids and, including Landon Donovan, who was supposed to be, or Landon Turner, who's supposed to be Davion's best friend. And
he won't talk either.
Nope. He's in college. He's playing football, and I called him once, and we set up an interview, and boom, it's been 6 or 7 calls that are, And so I told Tim, we got to talk to him. Rosie Graham, we need to talk to her. She was at the party. She, asked, she had some texts going back and forth. So they were there. The people who were at the party needed to answer some questions. Mackenzie's ex-boyfriend.
And what are they worried about? Were they doing drugs or something? They're worried about they're going to incriminate themselves using drugs?
I don't know.
I mean, or even drinking? I guess under a big deal, underage consumption. What the hell? You're not going to go to prison for it.
Right. And we're,
And it is clear that it's like Mackenzie's people are the ones closing ranks.
Right.
And Dom's friends are the ones coming in here saying this is not right. This just
Dom and
doesn't make
Davion's
sense.
friends are,
Yeah,
with the exception of
too.
Blair, were fairly open.
Yeah.
So,
Right,
to me,
so
the
they're
theory,
doing
to
something,
me,
right.
ultimately it's Tim's theory. It's not mine. My job is to collect data, the evidence or the information and give it to him. And
Yeah, but this Burlinghouse, what's the parents' name of this kid? Do you know?
I don't know, but they were in New York the night of the incident.
Well, the only reason is I'm wondering if it's the same Burlinghouse. There was a Burlinghouse from Middleburg, a whole family, and there was a bunch of Burlinghouses. There's like Dale and Jim Burlinghouse.
I don't recall.
They have a family.
I mean, I can pull it up, but
Well, I'm just curious because if
they've
they
lived in
want, if there's an
Strongsville for years.
alcohol issue, it doesn't matter that the Burlinghouses have a history of huge.
I can tell you from the first
alcohol.
graduation party, there was no alcohol consumption. Like everybody's like, nope, all 3 of them showed up. They didn't smoke, they didn't drink, they hung out and left.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, which like I said, I couldn't see my son. I mean, who knows? Maybe he would, but like I said, he doesn't drink beer.
he wasn't driving. So even if he was,
right. But I'm just saying, I didn't even wouldn't. That was the first thing. If they want to think about how I acted when the police came with Father Joe, I just said, I'm just shocked that they not much drinkers. Like, I just assumed it was an OBI accident in the beginning. Do you know what I mean?
And this is, to us, this is what Jason and I are struggling with. And I kind of, I wish I could give you a better answer, but until we look at her blood, it just doesn't look like an OVI crash to me. And so I'm not trying to create a theory from nothing. But the reason I'm asking about the suicide and the mental health is because when we discussed this case with Tim, just OVI by itself doesn't fit.
Right, well, it doesn't. And I don't think that Dom and Kenzie would make some sort of suicide pact. And if they did, he wouldn't have done it with Davion in the car and killed that kid.
And I don't think Dom would have made that
They had
suicide
reservations
pact.
for her birthday. He had steaks he had bought.
He wasn't
that
wearing a
week. There
seatbelt.
wasn't.
Right. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. But I could put your mind at ease in that Dom was, at no point did he reach over based on what our officers saw when they got there. So even if somebody tries to say, you know,
He caused this.
Dom caused it, no way.
No.
No way. I mean, we
Him
have
and
multiple
Davion were
officers with
innocent
body
in this
cams.
crash.
No way.
Right, and I just wished it. Why wouldn't Davion punch her in the head? And that was the thing. That was another thing that I had told Husey. I said, Dom has never ever laid a hand on that little girl. Okay, She has, you know, he'll walk outside, anything. He does not touch. Okay, and I said, I just wish he would have somebody would have punched her in the head, and I wish Davion would have. Somebody. What the hell are you doing?
And you're right, because I've gone through her phone. Like, I've just dove into her phone, and I've dove into her and Dom. And when they argue, she was more the antagonizer. He was more like, "Oh, you're breaking up with me? Okay, cool, deuces." Like, he was definitely more laid back, and definitely more like, "Don't talk to me. You're mad at me," and then she'd keep going and keep going.
No,
And we couldn't figure out if that was the teenage girl in her, like obsessed with the older guy type deal, or if it was literally a mental issue that
her driving,
I think it's a little bit of all. She's just unhinged. And I've explained in other videos that a lot of teenagers are not much different because of their attention spans. And I think a lot of it has to do with social media. And their toxicity, and everybody's overly sensitive nowadays. And so they just go kind of cuckoo. My teenage daughter was, you know, in a toxic relationship, and when they had it out, they sounded just like Mackenzie and Dom. You know, it never led to, obviously, anybody murdering anybody, but yes, and a lot of kids have abandonment issues, which I don't know why Mackenzie would have abandonment issues, because she had both of her parents, but something not right in there. I do agree that if Netflix wouldn't have done their documentary, this thing wouldn't have blown up. But all the information that we're getting for the most part now is stuff that all happened while she was in jail, like in county, not while she's been in prison. This is just how she was behaving then. And I remember hearing about this case way back when it happened. And a creator talked about it, and I'd heard about it. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, oh, this is about that case. And then as to your question, Sid, about when do you think she will be paroled? At the rate she is going, to me, she will not be getting out in 15 years. But that is just my guess. I think she will be in there longer because she's not taking any of this seriously.
there's video. She records herself doing driving high speeds. She's constantly TikToking and Snapchatting.
Filming herself while driving.
Right. And
At high speeds, which is what Blair told me. That's all Blair had to tell you guys
Right.
was that he knows that she would drive fast and reckless. Okay. Again, I mean, I don't know. My son Ange thinks she's absolutely the devil. He thinks that she's.
I think
we're going to make it a point to talk to him next week in the evening someday and just kind of.
It doesn't have to be the evening. I mean, just give him a chance. 1 or 2 o'clock.
Whenever he
just
wants.
as long as
I mean,
it's not
would he
Thursday.
feel more comfortable here or at the house?
I'll ask him.
Okay.
I mean, if he wants me to come with him,
we'll
I'll
give
come
him a
with
call.
It's no big deal.
We are interested in the relationship, really. But I want you to know deep down why we're asking those questions is
I know,
because
because you want to put together a solid case, because my son, Angelo thinks she needs to go to prison. He is absolutely positive, says that she needs to go to prison.
Well, and as well, probably better than we do, what we're battling here with the juvenile court versus 3 days later she's an adult.
Well,
versus,
I'd like to see who we pull, because I'll file an affidavit of prejudice with the Supreme Court, because I practiced in most of those courtrooms.
it's one of
I'd
Tim's
rather get
biggest.
some retired judge from Southern Ohio,
Mhm.
some Republican judge that would, not to say that, I love our Democratic judges in Cuyahoga, but they're Democratic
defense
because that's
attorney.
how they get elected. I mean,
Right.
do you know what I'm
And
saying?
right.
In
between the-
Cuyahoga.
We get the
are-
game.
yeah.
We get-
depending on the theory that we're able to help put together, the evidence that we're going to put together, if we can force a mandatory bind over as opposed to leaving up.
I don't necessarily like that. I mean, you can attempt to do that. Your political beliefs here don't really matter. I mean, I feel for Christine and Dom's family because Dom was a victim, which they are victims because of that. But I don't know that I would associate with Dom's mom. But it's just because I don't like the way she carries herself and handles herself. And I can handle a strong woman, a strong personality. It's just, and her saying things like that, which is why Steve Shirilla has said the things that he said, that she interfered, she was working with them, they made sure that she got a particular judge, and this is where the fix is in, and that it's some grand conspiracy thing. And I'm like, yeah, no, go check Indiana, go check up in Massachusetts, go check Arkansas. These are not the case. This is not the case. I'm not saying it can't happen in Ohio, but the fix is not in with this case. Okay. Nobody is just out to get Mackenzie. She's not that fucking important. But I don't think even if she would have filed a motion with somebody, I don't think that her motion would have been granted. And from what I know, she didn't file a motion. So at the end of the day, it was just something she said. There was nothing acted upon.
To a judge, that's another thing that we're looking at. So the reason we're looking at all of her social media is to show, although she was 17, she's been living like an adult. And that's why I asked you.
I would
staying at
say
the house.
absolutely, and I would say that for sure her senior year, because she was at my house every day.
Did she ever have a job, do you know?
Oh, yes, I do know this, and my friend Loretta looked into this. So she worked at Pulp
Oh, okay.
at the top of the street. She worked at, I think, Taco Bell,
Wasn't it? I think she was
Dunkin'
at
Donuts.
Dunkin'. I know she was,
Okay.
yeah.
They fired her at Dunkin' Donuts.
Mhm.
Now, if you talk to her employers, Loretta went in there and got the coffee or whatever and said, oh, I never knew this girl worked here or whatever, because Loretta goes there every day. She said, oh, that girl was horrible. She was nasty to customers. She was rude. She was all these things.
Okay.
And so she may have been putting on a nice facade for all of us and her innocent stuff. But I think it was Taco Bell, McDonald's or Wendy's. She's gotten fired from 4 or 5 jobs. Okay. And I know for a fact the last.
Yeah. Mackenzie has no customer service skills. She's a bitch. She's been raised to be entitled. And, you know, she's just sticking up for herself. No, she's hell on wheels. She's not a pleasant person to be around. She doesn't have a good work ethic. She's lazy and thinks she needs to be treated like a princess. She doesn't want to work. So I can see why all these people fired her. Because I wouldn't want her as an employee either.
One, because Loretta just went there, you could talk to them, that she was horrible. It was either Pulp or Bippity Bob. I don't know. Is that Pulp still there?
Yeah.
At the top of the street?
Yeah, right.
They said that she was rude and nasty to customers too. So I know those 2 places for sure. I don't know.
Well,
about
we can
it.
from
And she
her.
had those.
And
She
I
had those
know-
jobs when she was like 16.
And I know the Duncan one's right because there's some texts with her and the boss going back and forth. So that one is right on the money. I didn't know about Pulp, and we can look at some of those.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's either one of the other fast foods.
Yeah,
Okay, we
yeah,
only got
yeah.
what, McDonald's, Wendy's, or
Right.
Taco Bell.
Right,
So
okay.
one of those 3, but Pulp for sure. It wasn't Bippity Bob, it was Pulp.
Mhm.
And they got rid of her too, for again, customer issues. And so
Dom seemed to do pretty good by himself. Did he give her money a lot?
I don't know. about
There was
that.
an argument about when he threatened her with civil court because she
That was
bought
after that car
something.
thing.
She bought something that Dom gave her money for, but I guess maybe she didn't have permission because it wasn't clear from the
The text.
text. But you know, they kind of went back and forth.
That was after that. He said that she needs to give me the money back. And I don't. Again, this is the end of July. I know there was something about
Yeah, July
the birthday
2020.
gift, and I remember them fighting. Okay, he was on his phone trying to order her a purse or something, and he was sitting there and he goes, yeah, she's just gotta look at my phone. She's gotta look at my phone and see everything I'm doing. He goes, I'm just trying to order a damn birthday gift, blah, blah, blah. And she had to look at it and see, and he was all pissed off because he couldn't surprise her with it.
Mhm.
Then the night of that thing, he did bring up the fact that there was money given to her, that he wanted the money back because maybe, and it might have been had to do with not being able to order the purse.
Mm-hmm.
Just said, fine, well then take the money that I was gonna pay for the purse or something like that. Angelo maybe be able to clarify that a little bit more. Again,
Was
you
there
know.
an issue between Dom and Mackenzie's mom, Natalie? Threats or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. 'Cause here she says Dom threatened. He bought me this one outfit yesterday, and now he's saying he's going to take me to civil court. And then you told her not to worry about it. You know, he caters to you. I think he just needs something back.
That's why I asked. It seemed like he catered to her a lot.
Right.
Mhm.
They were
Well,
always
that's what
going
I
out
said.
to
What do you
eat.
do? Yeah, what
They were
do
always-
you?
Yeah. Mackenzie did everything. Or not Mackenzie. Mackenzie did nothing for anybody else other than herself. Dom catered to her. Because all hell would break loose if he didn't. She's a terror. He supported her. He did everything for her. Her parents didn't do shit for her. Or to her. Unfortunately.
What do you do for him?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Was
Right.
my thing. Like, he waits on you hand and full.
Mhm.
What are you doing for him? I did start that a lot lately.
Yeah.
So,
No, and
yeah.
Right. She brings nothing to the relationship. She has zero redeeming qualities. As a girlfriend, a partner, anything. She's a loser.
You actually have a text in there that I know that said, "What have you done for him?"
Right.
Mhm.
It goes both ways.
And
So,
so
you're right on the money with
We
that.
knew he was taking care of her financially too, supporting her, which,
Mhm.
you know, just goes along to show. Is there anything you wanted to know about the investigation that maybe we can help shed some light, put your mind at ease? Anything you're curious about?
No, I guess not.
We are about a week or two out before I think we get the
I
top
talked
spec.
to the ME's office, and I think they said 2 more weeks, and that was a week and a half ago. So
So
10 to 14.
as soon as we get
days.
that,
And I'm gonna tell you, I wouldn't be worried about Jimmy McDonald. Jimmy McDonald's a nice guy, hopefully. But is somebody gonna hear this?
No,
Okay, this isn't gonna be used as evidence.
no.
I don't even know the last time the guy's tried a case. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you that. He's Nancy McDonald's brother. I think he would get plea deals. He's a prosecutor. He's just making his money, getting his PRS. I mean, he's not really a go-getter type.
Well, and
So-
especially in something like this, they're going to be searching for a plea deal.
That's exactly what they're
But
doing.
well, thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it.
All right. So that is the audio of Christine Russo, Dom's mom. She thinks that Jim McDonald is good for plea deal. Probably was hoping Mackenzie would just plead to something. And she didn't, because her parents weren't going to let her do that. And she wasn't going to admit to something she didn't do, but maybe she should have taken the plea deal. And I don't like that she's like, oh, this isn't going to be used as evidence. I just don't like the way Dom's mom conducts herself either. But that's her. But she knows people because it's a small town. All right, let's see. I don't know how long some of the other audios are. Okay, this one is only 11 minutes. So we'll do this one. This is Christopher Hench Martin. This is who Dom called when the incident a week earlier, where Mackenzie was threatening to wreck the car and driving like a cray-cray. So let's listen to this. It's a little over 11 minutes, so it's not a long one like that one we just listened to. And I have no way to like speed these up where I have them either, which sucks. Because I don't like listening at 1 speed. That's just me though. All right. So, and then I will have this stuff time stamped as well. So we're going to add this to the stage. And here we go. Well, eventually it's going to start.
It is November 1, 2022 at 14:03. I'm here with Christopher Martin, who goes by
Hench.
Hench. Okay, beautiful. So, Chris, thanks for coming down.
No problem.
I just couple of things. Primarily, I want to ask you about the incident that happened a week before the fatal crash when you were sent down to the highway. But before we get there, just want to ask you, where do you know Dominic? How long have you known him?
I know Dominic through his mother.
Okay.
She actually took care of a couple cases for me. We ended up becoming real good friends.
Okay.
And so it's been about 2.5, 3 years now.
Beautiful.
And I always just try to be there for the kids, and they kind of looked up to me, and I just kind of been around for them.
Cool. So, do you remember the incident that I'm about to ask you about, where
Yes.
you picked him up from the highway?
Yes.
Okay. That day, what do you remember? Where were you when you got the call? Who called you, and what did they ask you to do?
I was actually at Christine's house. We were sitting around. She had just came back. She was sick. She got out the hospital and wasn't feeling well. Dominic called her, and he was upset. And she was like, "Well, where are you at?" And he was like, "I'm driving in the car with her." And he was like, "I just want to go." He was like, "I don't want to be."
How old is this dude? Met their... And this dude can just hang out with the kids? I don't know how old this dude is. Very weird.
Around her anymore. I'm done. So she was like, "Well, do you mind going to go pick him up?" I said, "Not a problem." So as I leave her house, go to the highway, get on the highway, and I call him. I said, "Well, where are you at?" And she was like, "I'll crash this car." And I'm like, "Dude, what you mean?" I'm like, "Dominic, just tell her to pull over. Like, I'm right behind you guys, so just pull over and stop, and I'm right here. Like, I'll be there in 2 seconds." So I hop on the highway. They were more down towards the Pearl. I get on at 82, and they were more a little bit past the Pearl exit right there. And it was raining. So as soon as I pull up, she's just going like this, and he's trying to get out the car. And once he get in the car with me, I said, "Dude, you don't have to deal with this. You're young. You got a long life to live. You don't have to deal with no chick in her attitudes, whatever. If you're not happy, just let her go. You know what I mean? If it was true love, she'll be back." So we're sitting there having that conversation in the car on the way back home. And man, I would have never expected that would even happen. A week later, just mind blowing. But yeah, we got in the car, and he was like, "Man, I just can't deal with, she don't want to listen. She drives like a maniac." I was like, "Well, you don't have to drive with her. You have your own car, and just let her go about her way. Take your time away from her.
Right. He didn't have to be with her. I know he felt like he needed to. But, I mean, it was an abusive relationship, whether, definitely verbal. He was manipulated, so I think emotionally. And my guess is probably physically, too, because I know her type. And he was probably scared of what she would do if he broke up with her and just left her. He needed to get a restraining order. I don't know if that would have helped, but it's what he needed to do.
Get yourself together. And he was like, "Yeah, I think that's going to be the best thing to do." And then later, about we get back to the house, probably 20 minutes after we get to the house, her dad shows up. He wants Kinsey stuff. He's like, "I have no problem." It's like, "Just have her or you can bring my stuff back over here, and I'll give you her stuff." So he went and grabbed some purses and gave them back to her, and or gave them to her dad. And yeah.
So, let me clarify a few things. So, when you got the call, you said 71 at Pearl Road. Were they going toward Strongsville or toward Cleveland? Were they
Towards
north or
Cleveland.
south? So they were 71 north,
Yes.
and they had just passed. Did they get to Bagley or before Bagley?
Before Bagley.
Okay, so that's going to be 71 north between Pearl and Bagley. So when you left the house, were you on the phone with him? Did he call you? Did you call
No,
him?
I called him.
You called
I
him.
called him to find out where his location, where they actually were at. Because I'm
Okay.
coming down the highway trying to meet up with them. And
Okay. And they were still moving as this was happening. She didn't.
I was on the phone with him. I said, well, just tell her to pull it over. You know, we don't need anything happening. Just tell her to pull it over. So she pulled the car over. I said, thank God, I'm right behind you. And
Okay.
soon as I pulled up,
Who is she?
Kenzie.
Okay. And when you were on the phone with him, can you clarify again what you heard her say over the phone?
She says she'll crash his car right now.
You heard her say
Yes.
that? Okay. And so they pulled the car over. Were they on the right side or the left side? Do you remember?
Right side.
Right side.
Yep.
So
Right off the berm.
right off the
Yeah.
berm. So did you get out of the car or did Dom just come back to you?
Well, I was starting to get out the car because I seen her just going over, grabbing him
Okay.
and swinging at him.
So she's swinging at him, reaching
Yeah.
over. Okay.
And I started to get out the car, and then I seen the door open. And he jumped out, and I said, "Well, come on, dude, it's raining. Let's get in the car.
Okay.
We're out of here."
And so when you guys left, where was she?
She was still in the car.
Still in the car, still up
Yep.
the highway? Okay.
Yeah, I let her pull off before we pulled off.
Okay.
You know, just to make sure the traffic was clear. She
Smart
got on
move.
the phone, and we got off at Bagley, turned back around, came in.
How long have you known her?
About the same amount of time.
Same amount of time.
Yeah.
Did you ever talk to her?
Very few.
Very few.
She'll
So
say hi, bye, you know, and that's just about it. We never really had conversations.
ever see them get into it?
A few times they argued,
Are
you
you?
know. Yeah.
And what was that like?
You would just tell her to go, grab your stuff and go. You don't want her around, you know. Like, well, that's the best thing for her to do.
Hmm.
You know, separate yourself from that situation.
On the way back from that incident, how did Dominic feel to you? How did he seem? How would you describe him?
He was upset.
Upset.
Yeah. Because they broke up at that point. Then
Okay.
they ended up back together 2 days later.
Okay. Was he angry?
No. He was like, he just couldn't deal with it no more.
What exactly did he describe as far as what she had done? Did he tell you, I mean, can you believe she did this or did that?
Well, he was saying that it was over something stupid. Like he asked her to do something and she didn't want to do it. And he was like, well, look, you know, all I'm just asking is you keep stuff clean and this, that, and the other. And he didn't want to chill with one of her friends. And I guess that's where she was trying to go to.
Okay.
And it's like, I don't even like them people. So why would I even put myself around them? I said, I get you.
Yeah, you can imagine what a bunch of Mackenzie type girls, how fun that would be when he doesn't even really like hanging out with his girlfriend.
Did he ever confide in you, Dominic?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Did he
Yeah.
ever express concern for his safety around her? Like, hey man, this woman is
No,
great. Okay.
no.
Did he feel like she tried to kill him that day? Like she intentionally was trying to drive the car into a wall, or was that just a threat? Or
I think it was just a threat.
Mhm.
I don't think he took it real serious because if that was the case, he would have never got back in the car with her.
okay. And do you know how they got back together 2 days later? Did she just showed up? Or
Actually,
any idea?
the day they got back together, I ended up flying out or driving out to Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
So the day that he passed away, I got the phone call early in the morning, and I drove all the way back that day.
I'm sorry for your loss, man. This has been very difficult for everybody.
For everybody is.
That's so sad. Because 2 days. They got back together 2 days before this happened. And that is the thing with this case. When we look at so many different aspects of points where this could have turned out so different because of either paths people take or decisions that are made. It just sucks. It's just sad.
Well,
Sad situation.
is there anything else about that incident or any episodes like this incident that you're aware of that I need to
Well, they
document?
pretty much stayed to themselves.
Stay to
He'll
themselves.
come out and play basketball, and then when she was working, and then we would just hang out. Then all the kids, we would just shoot around and sit in the backyard and just hang out. And every time she would come over, she would come over maybe for dinner if she was cooking like some non-gluten food for her that she can eat, and she would come over and have dinner. But really was a quiet person. Really didn't say much to anybody.
Was Dominic shaken up after that episode?
He was upset about that.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, they've been together for how many years, teenage love,
Right.
Hate to have to break up with your girlfriend, but like I said, there's plenty of other fish in the sea.
You ever been in a car with her?
No.
What's
No,
up with
I've
that?
seen her drive.
He was like, absolutely not. I am not getting in the car with that woman. I know how that girl drives. I wasn't putting myself there. He was having none of that. That's funny.
Down the street by herself, so
Yeah?
I'm not getting in the car.
And how's her driving?
100 miles an hour. She just drive left foot. That's like, because she was coming from Dunkin' Donuts one day, and I'm like, damn, she hitting the corners. You hear her tires. I'm like, whoa, hold up. But that's how she drove. Young kids. And I tell my daughter all the time, she just asked for a car. I said, nah. After this, you're gonna have to wait.
Dom ever express?
Okay. Like I said, I don't know how old this man is. He sounds like an older dude. He has kids. Not saying he can't be closer to their age because they have a kid, but if his kid is old enough to be asking for a car or something like that, I'm not saying this guy isn't a good guy. He had his trouble. Dom's mom helped him out. I don't know how he got the nickname Hench, but why was he close with kids? Granted, Dom was in his 20s, so they're still kids to me.
Safety being in the car with her? I've heard he's a very cautious driver.
He is very cautious, and then he just knew she drove crazy. She had that left foot. A lot of these teens do. Sucks, but that's why I won't get my daughter a car now.
Yeah. So you've seen her drive, never been in the car with her. Dominic never kind of expressed any concern getting in the car.
No, I mean, he would tell her to slow it down. You know what I mean? If he felt like he was,
Okay. Well, if you can think of anything else at a later time, like I said, I just wanted to focus in on this particular incident, just because you picked him up.
Yeah.
Did he mention anything about him maybe trying to grab the steering wheel? Did he say, like, I tried to stop the car, maybe try to put it in neutral, anything?
No. He didn't say nothing about none of that.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions for me? Okay.
All right. So there is his interview about that thing. This is where she tried this a week prior to this incident, acting like a cray-cray, because she is not right in the head. Okay, let's see here. Let's look at these text messages real quick. All right. Okay, that's as big as I can make it, I believe. So basically it says Dom's phone died, and that was on one day. And then it says, "Hey Angelo," which is Dom's brother, "I don't know if you hate me, but tomorrow for the funeral, would you be able to go in Dom's room and grab some photos from his desk for me? Some photos from his desk for me and him so I can put them into the casket so he can be with me forever." Yeah, I would be like, no, fuck you. That's what I would be like. And I don't think she even got to go to the funeral because she was still in the hospital. And then she says, "Please let me know." And then in the last video, we talked about how Davion had, sent, or Davion's friend had sent this picture because he was vacationing and he's like chilling in the mountain. You feel me, bruh? Hold up. This shit's so fucking hard. And that was sent at like 2:12 a.m. And then Davion at 3:30 a.m. says, "Damn, what the fuck? That go crazy." And that was one of the last messages that he got prior to the accident happening. Then the rest of the Angelo text says, she's texting back and it says, "Hi, Angelo. I just wanted to say I'm so sorry. I know you probably think this is all my fault, and I'm not asking you to feel bad for me, but I just wanted to say I'm so sorry. And I know you miss him so much. I wish he was here too. This should have never happened. He loves you so much, and I know you know that. Bitch, don't tell me that my brother loved me. Like, I know that. I don't need you fucking telling me that. Just how about don't message me? I don't even know what to say to you or just feel so bad. I hope you guys can forgive me because I'll always look at you guys as family." You're not. You don't even need to respond to me. I just wanted to tell you that I'm sorry. I just wanted to reach out because I feel like you felt like I don't care. I'm not taking this seriously, but I really do feel bad. It's killing me. And then she says, "Hey, can we talk?" So these are messages she's sending to Angelo. It sounds like when we were listening to Dom's mom's interview, she sent something similar to her as well. So those are the texts. And then let's see what this one is. No, I don't want to do that one. Let's go back and see here. Now, these are a little bit longer. Landon Turner, that's going to be one we are definitely. So Landon did talk to them at some point. Bubba. What is this one? We already watched the last time. Tyler Proctor. Okay. And then who are these? That one's 35 minutes. So I think we might have to just end it here for this one. What is this one? 16 minutes. Let's end it there for this video, and then we will go through some others as well at a later date. So, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see y'all in the next one. Bye.